Happy Friday.
Hi.
All right, so we're going to do, again, the last part of lesson 60. So we looked at graphing from um, standard form and general form, and then writing an equation in standard form. And so today we're going to write equations in general form. And the only time you would need to do the general form is if you didn't know the vertex. So if you were just given some points on a quadratic graph on a parabola and you didn't know what the vertex was, you can use this method. And it is a little bit more involved. So in each problem, you're going to be asked to plot the points, then find the equation of the parabola and tell where the vertex is. So hopefully plotting the points goes pretty easy. Excuse me. In order to find the equation, we're going to use the fact that we know y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And then we'll use our 3 points. And we're going to end up writing 3 equations based on these points. So we're going to take the x value and plug it in for x and the y value for y. So we get 0 equals a times 1 squared plus b times 1 plus c. The second equation, negative 3, equals a times 2 squared plus b times 2 plus c. And the third equation, negative 10, have to put the y value there, is equal to a times 3 squared plus b times 3 plus c. And what I would suggest is simplifying those 3 equations by multiplying things out. So 0 equals a plus b plus c. Negative 3 equals 4a plus 2b plus c. And negative 10 equals 9a plus 3b plus c. And so we can figure out a, b, and c by using methods from at the beginning of the course, where we can use elimination or matrices or things like that. I'm going to go through it using elimination. So I notice each of my equations has a plus c. So if I take my second equation, and then I'm going to take my first equation, but I'm going to multiply it by negative 1 and then add, or you could just say you're subtracting the first equation. And the c gets eliminated. Then I can choose any other 2. So I chose 1 and 2. You could choose 1 and 3 or 2 and 3 and do the same thing. I'm going to choose 2 and 3. So if I take equation 3, And the opposite of equation 2 and add those together. Now my result, I have two equations that deal just with A and B. So if I take my first equation, the -7, that's actually the second equation, sorry, equals 5A plus B. And then take the opposite of my first equation, 3 equals -3A minus B, and add. I get -4 equals 2A. And I can solve for A by dividing by 2. So I know that A is -2. Excuse me. I can find B by taking -2 and plugging into either of the two equations I found by eliminating the C. So I'm going to choose this one just because it's a little bit smaller values. So -3 equals 3 times -2 plus B. -3 equals -6 plus B. And if I add 6 to both sides, 3 equals B. To find my value for C, I need to go back up to one of my original, excuse me, my original three equations. Again, I'm going to choose this one because it's the easiest of the three to work with. So I have 0 equals -2 plus 3 plus C. So 0 equals 1 plus C. And when I subtract 1, I get C equals -1. So my equation for that parabola, y equals -2 x squared plus 3x, I almost put b, plus 3x minus 1 is my equation. And then it, excuse me, it asks you to find the vertex. So we can do that using the formulas from Tuesday. So I take the opposite of B over 2A. So -3 over -4. That's my X value for my vertex. And the Y value, I take 3/4, plug it in for X, and simplify. And I would just use a calculator to simplify. So -2 times the quantity 3/4 squared plus 3 times 3/4 minus 1. And I get a positive 1/8, or as a decimal, 0.125. So there's my vertex. I could write it either as a fraction, and I kind of like fractions, or I could write it as the decimal equivalent. Either would be fine. You could also then write the equation in vertex form if you wanted. You do not need to, so I wouldn't even worry about that. All right, so same idea here. Our y value is going to be a times our x value squared plus b times our x value plus c. And we're going to do that 3 times. I'm just going to draw a line to kind of separate my equations as I'm just simplifying them. And let's see, 3 equals a plus b plus c, and 8 equals 4a plus 2b plus c. And now you'll have a choice of which variable you want to eliminate. In all of these cases, you're always going to end up with a plus c at the end. So you could always just say, well, I'm going to eliminate the c. For this one, I'm going to eliminate the b, just to do it a little bit differently. And so if I take my first equation and my second equation and add them together, I get 2 equals 2a plus 2c. The b was eliminated. And now I can do the same thing with the first equation and the third equation, but I do need to multiply that first equation by 2. Add those together. 6 equals 6a plus 3c. Excuse me. Now I need to take those two equations, excuse me, and eliminate either the a or the c. If I take my first equation and multiply by -3, and then I can just add that to my second equation. And I get c equals 0. take that, plug it into one of my two equations that I got by eliminating the b. So 2 equals 2a plus 2 times 0. And then plugging that in to one of my equations to find my value for b. Again, you can use any of the three. I would probably use the second one. 3 equals a is 1 plus b plus 0. So my, oops, a little too far. My equation ends up being 1x squared plus 2x plus 0. So I'm not even going to write the 0. To find my vertex, x equals the opposite of b over 2a. Just kind of nice as well because you have them labeled as a and b in the solving. It works out really well. X is -1. And if I plug that in, I get the point -1, -1 as my vertex. And if you go back, kind of interesting, whoops. That was actually one of my points. You won't know it's the vertex, though, until you actually find or figure out or calculate the vertex. That's the process. Any questions?
Nope, I don't think so. I think I got it.
Terrific. Well, enjoy your Friday. Have a good weekend.
Thanks. You too.
I will do my best.